Chairman.
Senator Loomis.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member. And I want to say hello to Bill Panos, one of our witnesses who is with the great state of North Dakota now and formerly the great state of Wyoming. So wonderful to have you on this panel. And Bill, I have a question for you. Could you talk just a little more about why formula funding is so important to rural states like ours?
Senator Lummis and Chairman Cardin, Senator Lummis, it's great to see you and in this format, and thank you for the question. Formula funding is important to all states and certainly important to rural states like North Dakota and Wyoming for a number of different reasons. It can be used in more communities for more kinds of investments. It can be including projects that improve or add capacity. Plus, you can be confident that you have formula funds. We can plan longer periods of time in our states with the USDOT for those investments and with our private sector community as well. Our experience in North Dakota, as indicated in my previous response, is that you can never truly count on obtaining funds from a competitive grant program, but you certainly can from the formula program, which is why I think it was designed in its inception. I would also suggest that we can use formula funds for a variety of different programs. And I know that the chairman had mentioned in his opening comments the TAP program, which we have taken advantage of. Thank you, Chairman. We have taken advantage of throughout our state, and many rural states have, to improve our cities and walkability and connected systems and multimodal approaches to transportation in rural states. And so formula funds are helpful for a variety of different things, including multimodal, including bike and pedestrian safety, including increasing capacity, connecting communities, reconnecting communities. We use formula in cooperation with our tribal nations when we can, and have expanded our use of that. So for ADA programs, et cetera. So I think that the formula offers choice and flexibility that we would not have with a discretionary focused program.
Well, thank you. And what kinds of equity issues are different for rural states versus urban areas, especially like our states of North Dakota and Wyoming, which incidentally are the two states that lead the nation in terms of per capita contributions to the highway fund?
So, Chairman Cardin, Senator Lummis, our states are oftentimes looking to connect our communities and connect them in a way which is sustainable and resilient. Although we don't have the kind of flooding that you see on coastlines or near oceans like Houston and maybe in my native state of California, we do have flooding, and we have lots of flooding in North Dakota, and it's significant. And I think that connecting these communities in a resilient way so that they can access their community in flood season, that they can access their communities during severe storms, that kind of thing, is really very critical. A lot of it is just basic connective roads and bridges in these communities, and basic transportation that is significantly different than the urban connections that a lot of the focus has been in the hearing today. Not to say that either are more important or less important. It's all very important. It's just different. And of course, this committee has been great at understanding the differences among the 50 states. And along with my colleagues in California and colleagues around the country, we've been, I think, really focused on the differences across the country.
Well, thank you so much. And again, it's so great to see you. My next question is for Mr. Polzin. Dr. Polzin, it's my understanding that the current formula programs have the guardrails in place already to solve the sorts of equity issues that are being discussed here today. Do you feel that the current formula programs can fully capture these issues in the planning phases?
I think they can, and I think they have, and they have increasingly over time. I think there's been a recognition of some of these issues, and as folks have pointed out in looking at examples across the country, from Houston to Baltimore to New York, et cetera, communities are addressing and dealing with these issues already. I personally think that the best decisions are made when the decision makers are faced with the full spectrum of choices and the full spectrum of discretionary opportunities. Then they involve all of the stakeholders and make the best decisions. I think to the extent that we constrain or parameterize those decisions, just as we alluded to the fact that we've tended to do that at the federal level with modal silos, I think that results in some suboptimal decision making. So yes, I'm very comfortable with giving those resources to the folks that are in the best position to discern the best decisions for their communities and for the stakeholders in those projects at the local, regional, and state levels.
Thank you very much. Thanks, witnesses. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you, Senator.